What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the basic mechanics of Guilty Gear Xrd. If you've been playing Guilty Gear, you probably already know the stuff I'm going to be talking about. If you're new to the Guilty Gear series, this is a video for you. Basically, just trying to get you a little primer on the basics of the game and how to start if you're interested in this game. So, the basic layout of the buttons is, if you're used to Street Fighter, light punch is now kick, medium punch turns to slash, hard punch turns to hard slash, light kick turns to punch, which is a little confusing that the punch and kick are switched around. Medium kick turns into an empty slot or taunt if you want. And then high kick is dust, which is D, or it's an overhead attack, and the sweep. The movement in this game, there are no forward dashes, there's just running. And then there are air dashes though, and every character except Potemkin has them. And that's basically the way a lot of characters get in quickly. You can't block when you're air dashing, so you have to, the only thing you can do is Blitz Shield, which is new to the game. I'll talk about that later. Another way to move around is by super jumping, of course, and then if you run and then jump, you get a different trajectory. If you run and super jump, you get a different trajectory, and then you can also double jump. And then some characters can triple jump. Faust isn't one of them. Some character, like a character like Sato, can fly. I can change my air trajectory a little bit by faultless defend canceling, which is unique to Faust only, but that's kind of an advanced tactic. As far as defense goes in this game, there's faultless defend, which is you hold two buttons and back, and it takes meter, but it's a lot like push blocking in Marvel 3. There's no chip involved with it too, and it does push back the character. You can do it by holding two buttons, any two buttons except dust, because if you do dust, then you're going to get burst. You also have to air block certain attacks with, you can air block without faultless defending, but for some attacks you have to faultless defend. Let's see, instant blocking is basically like what it sounds like. You block as soon as the attack comes out, and you'll do a white little flash, your character will. It's not very noticeable, but the opponent will have less frame advantage on block, on whatever attack they did, whatever attack you blocked. Dead angles, they're basically like alpha counters. I think I have a example here for you, but you press two buttons and forward while in block stun, and it'll get you out of the situation. Blitz Shield is a new mechanic to the game that I was talking about earlier. It's this blue little thing. You have to be in neutral, and you press two buttons, hard slash on any other button, and you can press down, neutral down, and two buttons, or you can do it in the air. And it's basically a parry. It costs 25% of your attention. It can be done. It can be done in retaliation to 1-2, kind of like whenever somebody reacts to an X Factor and X Factor's back. So I'll give you an example of that here. Hopefully I get it. Oh, he died. I should have done a different button, but I'll get it this time. Yeah, so he rejected my rejection. I don't think it'll be that useful because I haven't seen Japanese players use it, probably because they can react to it and then just reject it themselves, but it'll probably catch a lot of American players because the game's so early. Next defense mechanism I'll talk about is bursts, or psych bursts as it's called in this game, which is the same thing as it's been in the previous game. There's gold burst, which is if you are not in block stun or hit stun and you hit the opponent with this, you get full meter. But if you are in block stun or hit stun, which is means if you're in the middle of getting hit by a combo, you can burst out of it and it'll be a blue burst. You won't get any meter, but it's still a huge part of the game because if you can get out of a combo, then obviously you're gonna want to use it as often as you can. You only get you don't get too many of them per round. They get built back up, kind of like any meter gets built back up if you're blocking a lot and stuff. So it's useful to try to manage that. So you have a few different meters you're gonna have to manage: the burst meter, and your tension meter, and also your risk meter, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Actually, I'll talk about the risk right now. If you're blocking an attack, your risk gauge goes up, which is the same thing as your guard gauge in the previous game. Guard balance. The more you block, the more damage you're going to take once you do get hit. It's kind of a mechanism to prevent people from being too defensive and too much turtle style, you know. So let's make the opponent block everything. You can see that purple building underneath there, that purple-pink stuff. And once it gets to that shiny, once it starts glowing like that, then the next hit will be counter hit, like you saw right there. And counter hits give you a variety of effects. Like sometimes, depending on the normal, depending on the character, it'll give you a wall bounce or a wall cling or a stagger. So you have to know your character pretty well to know what counter hit does. So I guess I'll go over the offensive options in this game. The chains in this game are not like the Magic series you're used to from Marvel 3. Like this is the top 3 buttons. This would be Street Fighter, this would be light punch, medium punch, hard punch. And that's what I would call Magic series. It just makes sense from the least heavy attacks to the heaviest hitting attacks. Light attacks to heavy. But in this game, it cancels. The cancels are weird. So, for example, Faust can cancel slash into punch and then back to slash, or the other way around. You know, it just doesn't make sense, and that's a big part of the game. You have to learn what your character can do and how your character can cancel what normals into what other normals. And also, there's a lot of jump cancels, like, for some reason Faust can jump cancel his low kick. That's his low kick. But he can't jump cancel his low punch. But he can jump cancel his low slash. But he can't jump cancel his low hard slash. But he can jump cancel his low dust. So, you have to really experiment with your character to figure out what are all your options as far as normal goes, normal cancels go. Another offensive mechanism in this game is clashing. So if you clash normals with another opponent, the screen will freeze for a second, and you'll be able to cancel out of it with another normal. It doesn't happen too often. Sometimes there's a new mechanic in the game called Danger Mode, where the screen will turn red, and it'll be a big countdown, and it looks really crazy. And you'll have the opportunity to do mortal counters, which are basically counterattacks that you can dash cancel out of. So it'll look like something like that, except without the red stuff coming out of me. And it's really good because it takes no meter, does a lot of damage, but your opponent also has the same options, so you gotta be careful. Next thing I'll go over is dust attacks. Dusts are universal overheads. Every character has them, and there's sweep is low dust, and then standing dust does the overhead. It's hard to tell that it's an overhead, but the character will glow red, and that's new to this game. Character glows red really quickly, so you know that it's a dust, because otherwise it'd be hard to tell that that baseball bat's gonna hit you high, and it's not a mid. Some characters were really hard to tell that their dusts were overhead, so I'm glad they added that little red thing to the Exard. Also new to Exard with dusts is this: you can hit them and then hold forward, and instead of falling them up in the air, you're gonna fall them on the ground. So this is what it used to be like in the old game, and now it's It's you can still do that, obviously, but you can also do this and get a little more damage if you optimize it correctly. But it's only in the corner, I believe. You don't really get anything mid-screen if you do it. Tension is built like any other fighting game, except running will also get you a good amount of meter. The negative penalty, which means if you don't do anything for a while, then the game's like you see what happened to Kai right there. He's actually losing meter, but you can't see it because we have infinite meter. So that's the way the game keeps you from being too defensive and too much of a turtle. One of the newer things to this game is the way they changed the Roman cancel system. So you can yellow Roman cancel, which is pressing 3 buttons while your move hasn't reached its active frames yet. So I can do it like with that move, or I can do it. Well, that was on my recovery, so that's why I got purple. But if I do it early before my active frames, then I get yellow FRC or yellow RC, which only takes 25% tension. If I do an RC, which is pressing 3 buttons during while the opponent is in block stun or hit stun, then I get a red RC, which takes 50% of my tension. But new to this game is that it does a lot of hit stun, so I can dash in afterwards. It like slows down time, so combos like this are not possible. And if you RC'd in the previous Guilty Gears, that definitely wouldn't have worked. And then the last type RC that I went over just a second ago really quickly was the purple RC. If you totally whiff, or if your move is in recovery, then you can go into purple RC to save yourself. And it's good if you make a mistake, like going my way a little too high, and you can be punished, so you do a purple RC. There is about 6 frames of recovery on it, 6 or 5 frames of recovery, so it's not going to make you completely safe, but a lot safer than you probably would be. Last thing I'll go over is instant kills. They are not that useful, but new to Guilty Gears, the gold instant kill, or gold activation of instant kill, I guess you'd call it. But it slows down time, so it allows for instant kill combos. The opponent has to have 20% or less life, which you can tell he has now because his life turns, it starts glowing like it is right now. And I also have to have 50% tension, and it also has to be the game deciding round. So there's a lot of criteria that has to be met. But when it happens, you can tell it's happening because not only is my meter gold, but I'm glowing gold a little bit, like little flames coming out of me. And it's useful because I can combo into instant kill now. Oop, I fucked it up. It used to be really hard to combo into instant kill. I don't really even know if many characters could do it, but with that time freeze that happens when you do the gold instant kill activation, you're able to get combos off. And I think that's about it. That's about all I wanted to go over for the basics of Guilty Gear Xrd. Hope you guys learned something, and I hope it was easy to understand. And if you guys like this video, please subscribe, and there'll be more Guilty Gear info. I'm thinking about making a little Faust tutorial. I'm not the greatest Faust, but I do know how to do some of his basic things, and you know, stuff like that. Instant overheads. Yeah, so please subscribe if you like what you saw, and come back for more. Thanks.